surprise in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nut podcast number 2030. Networking Riches, day 2. So how was it? How was your day today? I just got to cross that one off there. Okay, so we had day 2 of Networking Riches. We had over half the people, half? I have no idea where that came from. We had over half the people come back from the day before. We even had a lot of new people who weren't able to make it yesterday, so that was really good. We had a lot of participation today, which was even awesome. I love it when there's lots of participation. We started the day off with recapping yesterday and allowing the space for people to ask questions about stuff that they learned yesterday and processed overnight to say, I didn't quite get that. So that was really cool. And Casey went through his daily method of operations when it comes to social media, which is always cool to see. Then we got stuck in and we did follow up after the event. When you follow up with people, what do you do? And he has a list of, 20 something different activities that you can do. And then the idea is that you go through and you pick 6 and you do those 6 and then you repeat them for the second, do 1 a month for the first 6 months, and you just repeat it again for the next 6 months, and there's 12 months of follow-up that you can do with a client. And not only that, but he had, I said he had over 20 different things that you can do. But not only that, we had people who shared their list with us where they had activities on there that wasn't even on Casey's list, which was totally, and they were really cool follow-up activities. I was like, that's really cool. So we got to learn some new stuff today from our participants, which we absolutely love when that happens as well. It just shows that they get it. Sorry, throat's gonna. It shows that they get it, and they put their own twist on it because of the type of people that they're after. These are the types of things that they need to do to follow up with their clients or prospective clients. And so that was really cool to see some new, fresh ideas in there as well. And then after that, we got into a breakthrough, which was another really cool breakthrough as well. Again, lots of notes taken, but this one was different. It wasn't even US based. We actually had a business that is not based in the US that we got to talk about, which was such a really cool thing. And the business that it was reminded me of different times when I had been traveling around New Zealand and different things that were done in my travels around New Zealand that could apply to this business. So that was really cool to be able to contribute that. But other people added lots of really cool ideas in through the chat as well. It was just, there was a lot of participation, and Casey let the other coaches go first, and then he came in, and because of the time crunch, because he was promising to get us out by a certain time, we were getting close on that, and so he just said, oh jeepers, sorry, she's just, I'm trying a new probiotics on her. The other one I've been going for almost 3 weeks, no change. This one we started this morning. It got delivered overnight by Amazon, and we're trying this new one out. We've got to give it a few days to get into the system and everything else, but excuse me. So we had this international business, which was really cool because it was something different. Normally we have people who have businesses within the US, and all of the ones that we have had, none of them have been this type of business, which was super cool. So we got, not only do we get fresh eyes on a new business type, but we also got to look at outside of the US, which I think is just absolutely awesome that we can take a business, and it's not a business that we have discussed in the breakthrough zone before. So that was even more special. So today was kind of a bit of firsts in there. The first time we've had other people put in different steps for their follow-ups that they do. They put their twist on it based on the community that they serve with their business. And then we had this breakthrough zone on something that wasn't in the US, which was really awesome. It was a destination. And so and a lot of what they were doing, I was like, hang on, there was that time in New Zealand that I got to do that for a weekend. And when we did this was included and that was included. That could apply here. So, But, there was a whole bunch of other ideas in there as well that were really, really cool. And then there was even more really cool ideas offered by the coaches and stuff as well. So, mine was just a small piece compared to all the others that were out there. But it was really cool to actually sit there and go, hang on, I've had an experience similar to that one. And this is what our experience was. So I kind of enjoyed that. But it was really cool. We were out of there early. Then I could feel a headache coming on. I was like, I need to take a break. So as soon as we wrapped up with the team networking and all that, I went and had something to eat, went and laid down, had a snooze, and then woke up, took Zeffy for a walk, and here we are. That's basically been my day. It has been a busy day today, very productive day, a very enjoyable day, lots of notes taken again today. And it was just so much fun. For those that weren't there, those that came day one and didn't come day two, you missed out on a lot of stuff. And I understand business, and I understand, not being able to take 2 days out of your business, and I totally get that. So I just hope that they upgraded to VIP so they could get all the recordings, because then they get to see all the stuff that got done today, which is really cool. So I'm excited. Tomorrow's going to be a busy day as well. I've got my morning is packed up. I've got I'm doing a training. I am facilitating a training. I am facilitating a training. I am a trainee attendee. Then I have a meeting. With a business associate, and then I'm on the chat. That's my day tomorrow. There is no room in there to do anything else except get up in the morning, take Zeffy for a walk, come home, have breakfast, and get online. That's my day tomorrow. I'm just sort of like, there's a little tiny bit of breathing room in there. But this weekend, I had a couple of people ask me about Sparkles. One person, because they can't get over to where Sparkles is stored, has decided to let it go unless they can get somebody to bring them over, and had somebody else ask if it was still available. I said, yes. When do you want to come see it? And I've heard nothing back from them. So, and this is even after we put photos, we relisted everything, this time with photographs. Put some more photos in there. And so we'll see how that goes. I just want to get that thing sold. I just want to get Sparkles sold. That's all. So what else have we got for you? That's about it. All I can say is that it was a really good day. Totally enjoyed it. Good to see a lot of people come back again. Good to see a lot of new faces today, because, some people can't attend day one, but they can attend day two, and vice versa. And some people are available for both days. Some are coming in and out as they go to attend other meetings and stuff, and that's totally fine. We're not hard and fast about, that rule of, you're here, you're stuck here, you don't go anywhere else. Yeah, no, we're not. No, we don't do that. And I know that a lot of people are at work watching, having networking riches running in the background while they work, because they got their screens off, and that's probably what they're doing some other business stuff and all that. And that's fine. They get out of it what they get out of it. And it's just that there was just so much good information today too. And when I was looking through the list of different ways to follow up, I was thinking, I think my follow-up needs a little sprucing. So I'm revamping my follow-up sequence as well. Still keeping some of my favorite things in there. And but I found a new one, because I have a lot of books. I have a lot of books. I have boxes of books. And I'm like looking at these books going, do I really want to take all of these to New Zealand with me? The ones I have read, yes, definitely, because I have notes in them. And I'm talking nonfiction books, self-help business books, marketing ideas, networking books, self-development, what other categories? Biographies, memoirs, all of the ones that I've read, I've got notes in them. So yes, they will definitely be coming with me. Other books, actually I've got some fiction ones that have some notes in it too from our book club, which currently is on hiatus at the moment. I'm working on a marketing plan for that. So yes, I do have some fiction books that I will be keeping, because they are the ones that I go back and read again and again and again and again. And yes, some people are like, why do you go back even if it's a mystery one? I said, because there is time. Okay, so this is how Helen reads. Helen goes and reads these books and has a blast with them. I read all sorts of genres. Don't really read sci-fi and fiction. Those are my two. Horror, definitely not. Absolutely not. No way, no how. But sci-fi and fiction, yes, there's been a couple that have slipped in here and there, and it's all Brad's fault. And so I'm sort of like, okay, what am I going to do with this? But there'll be times that I'm sitting there and I'll read something, or I'm working on something else. I could be working on a genealogy project. There's sometimes when I was working on travel stuff. There's all these different things that were happening around that would trigger a scene from a book. And it's like, oh, what book was that in? And I will sit there and I will rack my brains about, and I will actually write down notes on the scene as I recall it in my head. I go, now, what book did I read that in? Or what movie did I see it in? And I remember from that point on, they did blah, 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 blah. But how did they get to that point? So now I have to go back and figure out which book or movie it was that I saw that in, maybe even a TV series that I saw that in. And then I have to go and start at the beginning and work my way through to see how that got to that point. And then did I remember what happened after correctly? And there's times it's sort of like, how did they get to there? It could be that, one character was kidnapped, because I love action books as well. Somebody was kidnapped, and so now they're trying to find this person. But yeah, I remember that this person came in and rescued them. But how did they figure out where they were? It's just a simple question like that. And so now I have to and so now I've got it in my brain. I've written down some of the details that I remember. So now that sits in the back of my brain. And then all of a sudden, one day out of the blue, I go, oh, that's the book it was in. Yes. So I go and I get that book and I start reading it till I get up to that point. And I'm like, oh, that's it. Yeah. And then as I start reading, it's like, oh, this happened, then that happened. And then, oh, that's how they got to that point. That's how the kidnapping ended up. And then now I remember how they figured it out. So it just starts by something somebody says, something I see, something that flashes across the screen somewhere. Anything can trigger, how things just trigger memories and stuff. So now I've got to go back and read that book. And then it's sort of like, oh, that was book 1 in the series. Let me read the whole series again. There you go. So I do read fiction books multiple times. I have a really good book series, the Fortune Reading Mystery Series, that's written by Jana de Leon, and phenomenal writer, very humorous. And it's about, she's a former Black Ops CIA operative who has a price on her head. So her boss hides her in a town where his niece's great aunt has just passed away. And so he sends his niece, who is a former beauty queen, now turned school librarian, he sends her off for the summer to Europe and puts his black CIA operative into this town, assuming her identity. And I'm just sort of like, oh, this is not going to be good. You've got a CIA black operative who has short hair, very athletic, who suddenly gets hair extensions put in, has to wear fake nails, high heels, dress all girly girl, and that is total opposite of what she's normally like. And so, yeah, let's just say she's just put into this little town called Sinful, Louisiana, and it's not far from New Orleans. So yeah, there's lots of adventures that come. I think we're up to book 27 or 28, somewhere around there. And you get to meet all these characters within the town. And I tell you, there are some characters in this town. They are very, very well written books. And I actually have those ones on audiobook. And so I have listened up until the point where the author actually had an accident and so was on recovery for several months. And then she finally brings out the next book in the series, which coincided with the fact that the last book in the series, she actually, for the first time, left us with a cliffhanger. And I was like, dang it. And so when the next book came out, I actually got the Kindle version of it, because it takes about 2 to 3 months for the audiobook to come out once the book itself is released, whether it's in paperback or digital. It takes about 1.5 months. 2 to 3 months for the book to come out, or maybe it's 4 months. It takes a few months for the book to come out on audio. And so I was like, do I get the book? Do I not get the book? Do I wait for the audio? So I went and got the book anyway so I could read it. But then when the audio came out, I had to go get it, because the person that she has doing the narration is totally awesome. And so that was really cool. And then the next book came out, and of course it was sort of like, do I wait the 3 to 4 months? No, we get that book too. So since I'm trying to remember. I think it's the last 3 or 4 that I have gotten on Kindle, and then as soon as the audio comes out, I go get the audio as well, and then re-listen to the book. So I do have the whole series on audio, and I have like the last 3 or 4 books actually on my Kindle. I might go back and get the other ones, but I don't think so because I really like the way that the narrator narrates the books, and of course I can when we're out. When I'm sitting having a meal, I can be listening to the audiobook, or I could just be listening to it, have it going on in the background while I'm working. Usually when I'm sitting eating a meal, I'm listening to like memoirs, and usually memoirs and biographies and autobiographies, and especially if they are read by the person who the book is about. So who was the last one I listened to that the book was about? I'm currently listening to Shakespeare, The Man Who Paid the Rent, which is Judi Dench's story about her time in the theater doing Shakespeare. And she's got one of the actors who she's acted with she acted with in a few of the Shakespeare's plays, has spent 4 years interviewing her. And when it came to and so these are their backwards and forwards conversations about the different Shakespeare plays and the different characters she's played. And do you think that this character knew about this? And there's been some surprises coming up in there. But Judi Dench is not reading her part. She does do the introduction, and then she says, "You will hear me popping in here, in and out as I recite some scenes, some dialogue that she did in some Shakespeare play." But they do have a woman whose voice is almost similar to Judi Dench's, but it's very easy to picture Judi Dench having that conversation with this what's his name? Brandon, with having the conversation with the guy who interviewed her for 4 years, and the person who was reading Judi Dench's parts. It's very easy to think that it's actually Judi Dench sitting there and they're having but these two people just having these conversations about these different about the different characters that she has played in certain roles, and how even where were they? And one of the theaters that they were in was close to where there's other theaters around as well. And there was one where she had a character that was in like the first couple of scenes, and then you didn't see that character again until the end of the play. So she had this nice long break in the play. And so what she would do is that she would then go back to her dressing room, take all of her makeup and her costume off, put on makeup and costume for another character, run out the back door of that theater, into the back door of the other theater, appear on stage as an extra in another play, and then she would then run back to her theater, get out of that, get up and make up and put the other stuff on, and be in plenty of time to walk on stage when her character in that Shakespeare play made its next appearance. And apparently that is a common thing that happens. I don't know if it still happens today, but apparently it was a common thing to do, that if you had a small role here or a major role, but you had this big break, that you would actually go and pop over to some other theater and come on stage as an extra. And she was on stage as she was on stage in one of them in Les Mis, because she thought, oh, that would be a really cool one. I wonder if there's a way I can get on that. And she was one, and it was at the scene where they were doing the barricades or something, and the battle started. And she does this beautiful dying. She says, "I did this beautiful dying scene, only to be whispered by one of the other players is, you only got shot in the arm." I love it. But there was even things like where the guy doing the interview would turn around and say, "Well, you do realize that in Shakespeare's time, this word actually meant this," and it would totally surprise Judi Dench, and she'd be like, "What? No way! No." It's a very entertaining book to listen to, and I'm trying to think of what was the book before. The book before that one was Julie Andrews reading her book. The home one, home. Oh, what was that one? It was all about her early childhood up until she did Sound of Music. I think we finished it just before she had just been awarded. She had just been given the role of Maria for Sound of Music, or was just before that, or just after that where the book ended. That was something like Home Again, but it was all about her early years being on stage and leading up to her film role in Sound of Music. So that was one before that. And it's just so cool when you can get the people who the book is about reading it. Like Carol Burnett and Billy Crystal, their books are absolutely hilarious because they are reading it how they want you to hear it. And like Billy Crystal, I didn't realize was such a master of imitating other people's voices. He actually met Muhammad Ali and did a whole thing on Muhammad Ali, and Muhammad Ali kept calling Billy Crystal his little brother. And even when he did, and he was even asked by the family to do the eulogy at Muhammad Ali's funeral, and he did it in the voice of Muhammad Ali. And I thought that was so cool. And then Carol Burnett, she's just awesome. She really is awesome. And she even does the Tarzan yell a couple of times throughout the book as well. She was in J.C. Penney's one time and had her checkbook with her, but she didn't have any ID with her to say that this is who she was. And they said, well, the only way we can really, and she said, well, you kind of look like Carol Burnett, but the only way we're going to know that is if you do the Tarzan yell. So here she is in J.C. Penney's in New York City doing the Tarzan yell to prove to these people that she actually was Carol Burnett. And that's how they did her ID on that check. She says, I never went anywhere without my ID after that. So, but there's a lot of great authors out there where they get to read their own books, which is really cool. And some of them, oh, who was it? It was Richard Branson's book on the Virgin Way, I think it was. I would have sworn it was him reading it, but it had somebody else's name there as the narrator. And I'm like thinking, did Richard Branson give himself a pen name? Because sometimes when you see the narrator's name, it may not actually be their real name. It could be their stage name, if you want, or their nom de plume. And sometimes they will do narration for different types of books and use a different name each time. So if you hear somebody that sounds like that, you say, well, I think I've heard that one somewhere before. It could quite possibly be that person. And when I got to the end of Richard Branson's book, I was like, that kind of really did sound like him. It had the English accent. It had, because I've heard him enough times on video and stuff that it sounded the same. To me, it sounded the same. So either it really was him, but under a nom de plume, or it was somebody else who was very good at imitating his voice. That's all I can tell you on that one. But anyway, I am out of here. I am exhausted. I'm going to go have scramble up something for dinner, and then I think I'm having an early night. So I still got a bit of the headache going on, so I want to get rid of that. So with that, I am out of here. Go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and we will catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. Hey, konera.